Sci-Fi author Jared Gray is normally known for his work with the written word, like his book Falling into Midnight. However, he also refers to himself as a Tinker Gnome. What does that look like? What most impressed me was how Gray's recent work as a tinkerer tied two things very dear to my heart together. Sleep apnea, because every man in my family has it, and the Alien franchise. Gray took his CPAP mask and combined it with a life-size foam Facehugger replica. If anything, the end result could help you have some fun with a loved one. On his blog, Gray says, quote, "I've been joking for years that if I ever ended up needing a CPAP mask, I'd incorporate it into a Facehugger. I was recently diagnosed with sleep apnea and now have my own CPAP torture machine. Seriously, these things are awful and create as much discomfort as they prevent." It gets better, I hear. Instead of trying to cast and mold his one cuddly hugger, he found a reasonable one online for about $65. No word on whether or not insurance covered it. What works out is that the alien's undercarriage actually lines up nice with the shape of the mask. Gray carved out some foam, adjusted the legs so it would actually hug his face with a little more cut and paste, and he splayed open the tail to fit the hose. The project took a whole week to finish, but he, as well as many of his peers and alien enthusiasts, were more than happy with the end result. Huge geek cred on this one, Gray. Oh, and you also won't die in your sleep. So bonus. Baja Board is a manufacturer of extreme electric skateboards. The company is based out of Melbourne, Australia, and just came out with a new design that the people at New Atlas called an act of extreme lunacy. To which Baja countered, "Lunacy, but we love it." The Baja Board Pantera has a peak power output of 8 kilowatts, about 10.7 horsepower. It has 4 3.5 kilowatt motors, 4 110 amp motor controllers, and a top speed of 45 miles per hour on an electric skateboard. That's still 10 miles per hour less than the current speed record for an electric skateboard. But then you realize that anyone can buy one of these things, and it's only 15 miles per hour less than the current speed record. Some early criticism has pointed to the range as the Pantera dies after about 28 miles, though that is dependent on a number of factors: rider weight, terrain, speed, etc. But hey, it's gonna be a fun way to die. It weighs 57 pounds, and the company does stress that it's not for beginners. The company actually built it more as a tech demonstration, but then figured, hey, why not sell it to some niche customers? According to the company, it can only be driven on private property, and it admits that the team still hasn't hit top speed in testing, because they're still looking for a willing airfield. So if you know a guy. The company says it's built more as an ego boost, like a supercar. Hold on a second. No one at your company is willing to take it at a top speed, but that's open to everybody else. No word on pricing yet, but the company's previous generation, the G4X, starts at about $3,000. Engineers from Sandia National Labs built an automated 9-robot system that has been called the most complex automated robotic demilitarization system built in the last 20 years. Since the Army started using the system, more than 700,000 submunitions have been demilitarized. Essentially, this is why we first conceived of robots, to do what would otherwise harm or even kill humans. Located at the Anniston Munitions Center's multiple launch rocket system recycle facility in Alabama, the Department of Defense built the system to dismantle obsolete ammunition and missiles. Otherwise, the munitions just wind up in storage. Now the Army can reuse and even recycle some of the materials, like the steel grenade bodies, aluminum warhead bodies, and copper. The system can dismantle up to 21 warheads in a single shift, and while humans still oversee the operation, it has otherwise taken many people out of harm's way. Think of that. A warhead has 644 grenades tightly packed into columns, and this system slowly cuts them apart and detaches the fuses. Now, the system is not without its design challenges. According to Bill Prentice, Sandia software lead for the project, part of the challenge is when you demilitarize warheads like this, you're working on munitions that are 10, 20, 30 years old. You see, they test on inert munitions that are in pristine condition. But when they start cutting apart these warheads and looking at live grenades that are rusty, old, or otherwise subject to the environmental effects, I mean, it causes some problems. Yeah, it sounds risky. I'm David Manty. This is Engineering by Design.